that.
All right, guys, so we've got some really nice news for you today. Well, it's kind of news, but it's also something I'm really passionate about, as you know, or if you didn't know, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So they just revealed something really cool. So a lot of the comics that we have been following, that we've been paying attention to in the Star Wars community, have ended. They've come to a close. A lot of them finished off this past September. So, as we know, they're going to kick in with some new comics. They just announced a really cool thing. It's called Star Wars Legacy of Vader. And what it marks is the return of Kylo Ren. Now, this is going to be penned by Charles Soule with art by Luke Ross. Overall, this is a huge boon to Star Wars fans and a huge boon for comic lovers. Charles Soule is known for his 2017 Darth Vader series and his 2020 Darth Vader series. He's more so known as a huge Star Wars buff. He has even been labeled as a Star Wars associate, which means he is now paid by Lucasfilm to come in and give new ideas because his comics have been so well received. He's done so well in this universe. This is huge news. This comic is going to take place right after Episode 8, The Last Jedi, whereas we saw Kylo Ren, defeated Supreme Leader Snoke. He technically defeated Luke Skywalker. He came this close to killing Leia, but he stopped at the last second. And he's gathering, a lot of questions in his mind, like, what am I doing? What am I doing? So he's also sitting here and he just technically inherited the First Order because he killed the Supreme Leader. So now he's the ruler of a military junta in the Star Wars galaxy, and he doesn't know what to do with all that. So he's going to be trying to get back in touch almost with his roots of the situation, Vader. This comic, from what we've been told, he's going to be exploring Mustafar. He's going to be exploring the sands of Tatooine. And I guess he's trying to retrace Vader's footsteps of when he was Anakin Skywalker and when he was Darth Vader. This even shows us that he is going to visit Vader's castle on Mustafar before Episode 9 when he finds the Sith Wayfinder thing. So again, this is a great way to see Kylo Ren, who, as we know, was done by Adam Driver in the movies. And it looks really amazing. The artwork looks beautiful. I honestly can't wait to read this. This comes out February of next year. And the better news is it is a new ongoing title. For those of you that aren't familiar with comics verbiage, we have miniseries, maxi series, one-shots, and ongoing. A miniseries is usually about 4 to 5, maybe 6 issues. A maxi series is usually about 10 to 12. A one-shot is just one comic, and an ongoing is it'll keep going until they eventually shut it down, but it'll go well past at least 10 to 15 issues. So this is huge. This is going to be a great comic. I'm really excited for it. We're finally getting some more sequel trilogy love, and this is just great. I hope you guys tune in. I know I'm going to be picking this up like day one, and then the other comic that they've announced is a new series called Star Wars Jedi Knights. It is going to be written by Mark Guggenheim. Really, really good writer there. He wrote the Han Solo and Chewbacca comic. He does a really good job about it. The art is going to by Musebakov. I've heard the name. I'm sorry if I butchered that pronunciation. But this is going to be an amazing comic. This is another ongoing series. But this one's going to be a little different, whereas the Kylo Ren Legacy of Vader comic is going to be an ongoing one story following him. Each singular comic of the Jedi Knight series is going to focus on one particular Jedi of the Jedi Order before the Phantom Menace. So that means Yoda could get his own issue, Mace Windu could get his own issue, Yaddle could get her own issue, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Kit Fisto, Plo Koon, Saesee Tiin. The list goes on. But each Jedi will get their own story done in a comic of their own issue. And quite honestly, I mean, this is the love that a lot of people have been looking for, because the prequel Jedi, especially in new comics, since Disney took over, Marvel got the license back in 2015, the prequel Jedi have gotten a few stories here and there, but this is going to be an absolute love letter to the prequel trilogy, to the prequel trilogy's Jedi. Me personally, I'm very invested in it. I'm very much of, okay, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see it. This series is going to be launching in March. And again, that's going to be as another ongoing series. So again, I hope you guys pick it up. I mean, I don't know which Jedi is your favorite. Me personally, I always enjoyed Jedi Master Dooku. I don't know if you guys have seen Tales of the Jedi on Disney Plus, but his story has been very fleshed out, not just in that medium, but in books as comics as well. And I cannot wait to see it. I think it's going to be a really amazing and fun read, and I'm definitely going to pick it up day one. I know, right? I know. It looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does actually. You know what? To tell you the truth, as you were talking about that, the whole idea, and like you said, that you like Dooku, and you got the Tales of the Jedi. So, and we've actually talked about this before in just private conversations.
Yeah.
Where maybe like Star Wars has kind of already closed the book on Dooku, because they pretty much, I mean, from bowel movements upwards, have told you the life of this man, and it'd be kind of interesting to see, because there he is. He's actually center frame, if I'm not mistaken.
I know. No, that's it. That's Dooku. He's right next to Yoda.
Yeah, I mean, he's center frame in there, next to Qui-Gon, and they're talking about, I mean, that they're going to add more stories. So, I mean, they must have some intention of doing that. The ones that I'd be really interested in is like, I know from the Clone Wars series, I really like Plo Koon.
Oh yeah.
I always found him quite interesting. And now that we know Kiri-Mundi has a much longer lifespan, he must have more stories to tell.
Oh, he definitely does. Yeah, because you're not wrong. I mean, now that we know his lifespan is well over 100 years, and he looked to be middle-aged in Star Wars The Acolyte. I mean, he's going to be having a ton of stories. And it also depends on what they bring back, if they do anything from the expanded universe, because Kiri-Mundi also had 7 or 8 wives at one point in the expanded universe. I mean, yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if they'll do something like that.
I highly doubt it.
The only thing that strikes me, also the idea that you might get a Yaddle story. I mean, it's not that I'm particularly interested, but after seeing her come up in the Tales of the Jedi story, and with Dooku, it just kind of gives the character a little bit more, oh, well, she must have a background.
Yeah.
So what is her background? And so that'd be interesting to find out. I think the problem is that, especially with her, is because with the Mandalorian, they have to be careful in what they tell about her, because she is the same species as Yoda. So, I mean, there's quite a possibility you could actually wind up hearing about, more about their race than you already know.
Yeah, which could, again, close the door on some aspects of Grogu from the Mandalorian show. Like, you're right. I mean, I really think they're going to use this as a medium to focus on singular Jedi stories.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll definitely see, like I said, Kit Fisto, Plo Koon.
Oh, that's the other one. Yeah, I've always liked Kit Fisto.
We're definitely going to be seeing a lot of different, Jedi-centric stories. I think we may even see some stories on some of the Jedi that may have, turned to the Inquisitors, because the Grand Inquisitor was a Jedi Temple guard.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You might even see a story from him. Like, all the Inquisitors were former Jedi. So, I mean, there's a lot they can do with this, and especially the route they're going, that each comic is going to be, the whole series is going to be an anthology.
Yeah.
So, it's not going to interconnect. It's going to be, okay, issue 1 could be Yoda. Issue 2 could be, a Jedi we've never even heard of before.
Well, it's just probably going to be like these wandering stories, of that's what this Jedi did this Tuesday in October.
Exactly.
And it's like murder.
Mace Windu sat on the couch all day, and
Yeah. It's like, what does Mace Windu like to do to relax? He seems like a really intense individual.
Yeah, he's very intense.
He's very just needs a foot massage.
Yeah.
The other thing that also gets me, but this has really very little to do with individual stories, is how horrifying must it be to be in the group with a bunch of other individuals who could cauterize your body at a moment's notice just because the phone went off. It's like, oh man, sorry, man. He just stuck a lightsaber up my nose. And I mean, I don't know. It just looks really dangerous.
Yeah.
And of course I can rationalize it and say that's because the Jedi are just that skilled. No. Obviously Jedis make mistakes. And one of them could have been nicking off somebody's pinky toe.
Yeah, I mean, they're all infallible. They're all, they have human qualities, even for those that aren't human. I mean, they're, they make mistakes. Yeah. They're people like the rest of us.
But the other one kind of going into, because you were talking about the Rin story. So to just kind of briefly talk about that, I just realized that I'm trying to show something that's not popping up on the screen. There it is. Just a reminder, since we were talking about the last one. So with the Kylo Ren thing, I mean, you said it's an ongoing comic?
Yes, it will be an ongoing comic.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I mean, it's an ongoing comic that does clearly have a deadline. Because at some point, spoilers, am I spoiling anything? He does put it in his resignation as the leader of the First Order, and then eventually ghost, so...
Yeah. So because this takes place right after episode 8, there is a year gap between episode 8 and 9.
Yeah.
And if anything, my fellow Star Wars comic enthusiasts will understand this. There was a year gap between episodes 5 and 6, and they have released a plethora of stories to even fill up that year.
That's a very busy year. I mean, considering that there's only 365 days.
And imagine just between episodes 5 and 6, again, this past year, we've had 4 crossover events. I mean, between the 4 main ongoing comics that were during that time of year, they had the War of the Bounty Hunters, they had the Crimson Reign, they had the Hidden Empire, and then they had the Dark Droid saga. So, I mean, they've already gone to show, hey, a lot of stuff can happen in a year.
Well,
I mean, between episode 8 and 9, that is a year gap. They could easily fill in those stories.
There's a lot of people who are definitely fans of Kylo Ren.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is a good vehicle for them to get a little bit more out of a character that they... they're not really going to get that much anymore.
No, because it's like you said, even people that have a different opinion on the sequel trilogies to other people, the main consensus and opinion is that Adam Driver, the actor, did a great job as Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
A lot of people enjoyed the character. They, after all 3 movies are said and done, they've enjoyed the character. They enjoyed the acting. And I mean, that's pretty much the consensus, the agreement between fan bases.
Yeah.
Is Kylo Ren was a good character. I wouldn't mind reading more about him.
He definitely does have a look, and that's one thing I tell you that Star Wars does, especially with their dark side people.
Yeah.
They definitely give them a look. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about it. I tell you what, I think I'm maybe a little bit more excited in the Jedi book.
Yeah.
The comics. But so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm just hoping for the best from it. But at the same time, you're right. I mean, what can they really fill that year with, especially with, the way they've kind of left the state of things at episode 8? Because The Resistance is on the run, and there's really no force in the galaxy to stop the First Order.
Yeah.
So there's nobody really there to face Kylo Ren. I mean, there's no real opposition.